The phrase "I love you" doesn't always have to be said. Sometimes it is shown through actions, but understood just the same as if it were said aloud. People express love in all different types of ways, whether it's a hug, a kiss, or even just a simple, "How are you doing?" Surely you have someone in your life who has shown you unconditional love, and that must mean a lot to you, right? Well, for me, that person is my dad. He's been my best friend since day one, and there are so many ways that he shows his love for me, such as constantly opening up opportunities for me, making sacrifices, and even understanding me in a way that nobody else does. Today, I would like to share with you some of the reasons that my dad is so important to me and explain some of the ways that he makes me feel so loved. Without a doubt, I would not be the same person I am today if it were not for all the opportunities that my dad has provided for me. Whether it was building my first snowman, riding my first quad, or even seeing some of my favorite performers live in concert, my dad has always strived to open up the best experiences for me. One of the most significant opportunities that my dad has provided for me is allowing me to play soccer since I've been 5 years old. He's always paid my fee to play, bought my equipment, taken me to the doctors if I've gotten hurt, but most importantly, he's supported me on my own journey. He's been to 95% of my games, and as you can imagine, that's been a lot of games since I was 5. Not only does he support me by showing up to things, he also takes me to things, such as one of my first concerts. When I was only 5, we went to see Carrie Underwood, and then again, we went to see Carrie Underwood just this past year. Also, we went to see Panic at the Disco, and it was so memorable, not because of the concert itself, but because my dad drove in a blizzard to the arena and back home, and it's everything in between that makes those experiences so memorable for me. Finally, I love the adventures we go on. He always opens up such incredible, adventurous opportunities that sometimes I never even think were possible, but he always pulls it off. Such as when we went to Cedar Point for the first time. It was spontaneous and fun, and I definitely did not expect it the first time we went. Although my dad enjoys spending time with me, there are also some opportunities that require sacrifice. Sacrifice can be a hard task if given the right scenario. For my dad, sacrifice works in a lot of different ways, but his most significant sacrifice is time. My dad works the night shift, and there have been many days where he has come home in the morning and taken me to appointments or events or anything in between, and there's been a lot of days where he has stayed up over 24 hours, and I really don't know how he does it, but I find it quite incredible. Not only does he sacrifice time, but he also sacrifices money. Whether it was buying my first quad, to buying the newest video game, or even most importantly, buying my first car. He also pays for the gas, and he would give me his last dollar just to see me smile, I'm sure. One final way he makes sacrifices for me is when he goes to and pays for events, even if he doesn't have any interest in that event. As I mentioned before, we went to Panic at the Disco, and he had absolutely no idea what he was getting himself into. But by the end, he was laughing and singing along just like the rest of us. These sacrifices are so important to me because he doesn't have to do any of it, but he does it out of his own generosity, and I'm truly grateful for that. Unquestionably, sacrifices take strength. Not only has my dad passed on his strength to me, but we are so similar in other ways too. My dad and I are very similar, and he understands me in a way that nobody else does. We've been best friends since day one when he held me in the hospital and we watched football together, so I've been told. He calls me by my nickname P, which actually stands for Punky Bear, but I don't like hearing the whole word said out loud. But I feel a sense of pride when I hear that nickname. Also, speaking of pride, when I came out as gay, my dad was one of my biggest supporters, and he continues to be one of my biggest supporters. He really shows me the true meaning of unconditional love. When I'm having a bad day, he always knows just what to say to cheer me up, and I really don't know how he comes up with some of the things he says to me. He always knows how to give me the best advice and life guidance, and I would be completely lost in this world if it weren't for all of the things that he's suggested and guided me through. Even though there are many people that are important to me, my dad is by far the most special person in my life. He has done so much for me over these past 18 years, and I'm blessed to be able to call him my father. Whether he takes me to a concert, stays up over 24 hours, or says all the right things to make me feel better, I know that my dad will always have my back. He constantly strives to open up the biggest and best opportunities for me, and even though sacrifices can be hard at times, he never fails to pull through. Our bond is unbreakable, and it's through all my dad's day-to-day actions that I'm reminded how much he truly loves me. It really goes to show that I love you doesn't always have to be said.